Good afternoon to you, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for the 21st of September 2013. In the Atlantic Basin this weekend, not much going on of any significance. A couple of low potential areas for development, one southeast of Bermuda, the other is what was, and I guess still is, Invest Area 95L. If you take a look at a satellite picture, actually an animation of the western Atlantic, you see in the western Gulf of Mexico this blow-up of clouds associated with what was 95L, and then this frontal boundary coming through, helping to add extra energy to the system, squeezing out all that moisture that is streaming in out of the Gulf here, which is very warm. And the result is a lot of heavy rainfall across portions of the deep south and the Gulf Coast states here, but nothing tropical. We don't have a tropical cyclone developing, that is, no tropical storms, no hurricanes, but lots of heavy rain, as I alluded to. We look at the radar shot here. Houston and vicinity received a lot of rain yesterday and overnight. A lot of that now offshore. Southeast Louisiana getting a lot of heavy rain this afternoon. Pop-up showers streaming into portions of Florida. Some of the football games here in the deep south may be interrupted by lightning delays. You never know with some of these pop-up storms, but you can clearly see the front draped across portions of the southeast, steadily advancing, and this rainfall will move into the Carolinas, eastern part of the Carolinas, later today. But nothing tropically speaking, at least for development of tropical storms or hurricanes seen in the global models over the next week to 10 days. So I think we're going to end the month of September without any additional significant development. We might see something pop up off the coast of Africa, believe it or not. The GFS and the Euro showing another weak Cape Verde system moving off kind of late in the game for that, but it would just move on out to sea, much like Umberto did. May get another named storm out of it. We'll talk about that more next week as the modeling gets closer into the short time frame as opposed to the long-term time frame. So out on the western Pacific, this typhoon that has been gaining much more news coverage, and rightfully so. Typhoon Usagi went just south of Taiwan, which is right here. Yesterday, the center of it in here, that passed to the south of Taiwan between the northern Philippines and the island of Taiwan there. Now looking at this satellite picture, good news in that it looks more disorganized than it did 24 to 48 hours ago for sure. Still a fairly well-developed central dense overcast in here. The core probably intact, but you're seeing a disruption of some of the inflow coming in, and overall it just looks more ragged. This isn't the appearance of a super typhoon, obviously, and that is good news because the forecast track is rather ominous for Hong Kong. As we scale it up and zoom in here, the Joint Typhoon Warning Center having this come in right across the bay here into Hong Kong. Fortunately, I believe it'll continue to weaken. It's already doing so. Very large circulation. You got to figure it's going to pull some more stable air off of this large land mass, which is what? That's China. And there's a lot of dry air sitting over China like there would be over the southwest United States or Texas, for example, if you had a very large hurricane moving into the western Gulf of Mexico, which is sort of analogous to what we're talking about here. This is 20 degrees north latitude, and you figure there's 25. Brownsville is around 26 or so. Houston is up closer to 30. And so this whole region is sort of analogous to the western Gulf of Mexico, geographically speaking, if you swung this over to the western hemisphere. And you can imagine a large hurricane moving into northern Mexico or Texas. You get all that dry air coming in off the continent, and it helps to sap some of the energy. It's just the way it goes. These things can self-destruct. So hopefully this will weaken as it goes in. Still going to bring significant impacts to that high-density population center that we know of as Hong Kong. A couple of people to follow on Twitter. Mike Tice, follow him at Extreme Nature. So you know how you do the @ sign extreme nature is Mike Tice, or just look him up, Mike Theiss, Tice. And then, of course, James Reynolds at Typhoon Fury. James Reynolds at Typhoon Fury, a good person to follow. Both of them are going to be documenting the effects of this typhoon in Hong Kong and vicinity over the next day or so. We wish them the best of luck. Hopefully they stay safe. They are the war photographers, if you will, of nature's attacks on mankind. And they do a really good job. They have a lot of respect for the people. They get the shots that people want to see to document these amazing forces of nature, but they also have the respect of what's going on, and they appreciate the forces that they are documenting. They don't just do it for the money. They have a deep respect for what they're doing, and therefore I wanted to make sure that you knew about them. Good guys, Mike Tice and James Reynolds. Check them out on Twitter. They will be posting a lot there over the coming days, I'm sure. All right, well, that's it. A wet weekend for the southeast, but nothing tropical, and we'll see what the effects of Usagi are on Hong Kong. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Again, I'm Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. That's my website. Always an honor and a privilege to produce these videos for Hurricane Pro in HD. I'll be back with more for you tomorrow.